Hey guys, it's Bear with the Gimpy Camper. We're here today to talk about the solar install. I finally got done with all that other crap with the camper, got it all put back together. It should be waterproof. And so what I decided to do, put some more holes in the roof of the camper. Sounds like a smart idea, huh? But we're going to use this to make this. It's going to be great. So I decided to use mounting feet made from the SuperStrut. I decided to use 2 or 3 6-inch pieces along each side. I did go ahead and go with 3 because I didn't want it to be solid there, because I didn't want it to interfere with the way water drained from the roof. But I was afraid that one in the front and one in the back wouldn't be enough support for the whole solar rack, and so I wanted to add a support in the middle too. And so this is what it ended up looking like. I put 3 feet on the bottom of each side, and then I put 1 continuous vertical bar across the top of those, as illustrated here. And then on the very top of those, you can see the ones that are basically cross members that go to the other side. Because again, I thought that it might need a little bit of support in the middle of the solar panel. It's probably not necessary, but I have a tendency to overbuild stuff anyway. And so then you can look at the top of my design here, and the squares are basically where the support feet are mounted on the system. So these support feet are kind of the Achilles heel to the whole thing. You got to make sure they're waterproof. And so they're sitting on a layer of Eternabond that's over the gutters. I have a piece of Eternabond that's sitting down inside the SuperStrut to help try to seal it up a little bit. And then I also put Dicor on over the top of the bolts and actually tried to fill most of that lower piece up so that any water would just run off somewhere else. The mistake I made here was more common sense. I didn't put the nuts inside that SuperStrut before I sealed these bolts in, so I had to take them back out. One of the biggest aggravating factors about this whole project was just getting the right hardware. At first I had 1/2-inch nuts and bolts for these front to back bars that connected all the feet together. That was the wrong choice. Number one, you had to have the shortest bolt that you could find, because it's not very thick to go from the bottom of one of those U-channels down to the nut. I think that 1 inch was the shortest that I could find, which was verging on too long, so I used an extra washer there to give it a little bit more space. The 1/2-inch diameter bolt was just too big. It would fit down in the SuperStrut, but you couldn't fit anything in there to turn it. So I recommend using 3/8-inch bolts. They worked pretty good. My socket still got stuck down in there a little bit, but it wasn't bad. It's also important to note that I did use red Loctite on all of these bolts. That way to keep them good and tight. You probably noticed that I'm leaving this front cross member longer. That's for a special surprise in the next video. The next thing to do is lay the panels out and then bolt them down. The way that I chose to bolt them down was with another 3/8-inch bolt with this large square washer with a regular 2 round washers and a lock washer so that I could have the proper depth. I ended up having to rip a couple of 2x4s down to put on the very ends because that flat washer was just too wonky without some support on the other side. So I did prime those to help them waterproof for a while, and then I bolted those down on the corners. Then we connected the panels in series, so one panel to the next panel, so you have one positive, one negative on the ends. It's hard to tell here, but I did use a little thin piece of aluminum on the front of the SuperStrut to just tie the front of the panel to the front of the SuperStrut, just with some self-tapping screws. Then we just taped the wires down with the Eternabond. On the longer section I just used some short pieces every foot or so, and then we put them through this cable entry port that we installed on the roof with just some glue it came with. I didn't want to move my battery in the travel trailer, so I got the charge controller. I just mounted it in the storage. I had just the minimum requirements for the spacing as described in the instruction manual. I've not had any trips or anything to test the solar system, but I have used it a little bit around the house and it seems to be really helpful. So that's it for this project. Just let me know something, guys. Let me know how you would mount a system like this to your roof. I'm probably going to use the SuperStrut again. I kind of liked it once I got the hang of it. The issue is I'm probably, going to I'm going to upgrade campers in the next couple of years. I'm probably going to move these panels over to the new camper, and if I have a newer camper, then I don't really want to attach them in this manner. I'll try to find something less invasive. But let me know what you guys think.